The text message lit up my phone screen like an unwanted ghost from the past. Saw your sister today. She's not doing well. Thought you should know. I stared at those words from Logan, someone I hadn't spoken to in years, and felt my carefully constructed world wobble on its axis. My name is Mara, and my twin sister Soleil hasn't been part of my life for the past 3 years. Not since she destroyed everything I held dear with a few carefully crafted lies. Earth to Mara! Luna waved her hand in front of my face, nearly knocking over her coffee cup. We were sitting in our usual spot at Cornerstone Cafe, where we met every Thursday to discuss freelance projects. You look like you've seen a ghost. Something like that, I muttered, sliding my phone across the table. Luna's eyes widened as she read the message. Oh shit. Are you going to respond? Delete and block, like always. I took a sip of my now lukewarm latte, trying to ignore the tremor in my hands. I've got enough on my plate with the Morrison website launch next week. You can't avoid her forever, you know. She's still your twin. Watch me. I pulled up my laptop, determined to focus on work, but the memories crashed through anyway. The last family dinner, the accusations, my mother's tears, my father's disappointment. Remember what happened last time? I asked, my fingers hovering motionless over the keyboard. When she told everyone I'd stolen money from Dad's business to fund my drug habit. The same week she miraculously saved the company from an accounting error she'd discovered. Luna reached across the table and squeezed my hand. That was awful. But you've built a new life now. A successful one. Yeah, and I'd like to keep it that way. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Logan. She's asking about you. Fuck this, I muttered, shoving back from the table. I need some air. Outside, the autumn wind whipped my hair around my face as I paced the sidewalk. A familiar voice called out, stopping me in my tracks. Mara, is that really you? I turned to see Stefan jogging across the street, his usual messenger bag bouncing against his hip. He'd been my rock during the fallout with my family, the only one who'd known me well enough to see through Soleil's lies. Hey, I managed, trying to force a smile. Bad timing? I know that look, he said, studying my face. What's she done now? I showed him the messages. His jaw tightened as he read them. Logan reached out to you? That's interesting, Stefan mused, considering his history with Soleil's investment scheme. What investment scheme? You haven't heard? It's all over the local business circles. Soleil convinced several people to invest in some sort of startup. It went south fast. Logan lost quite a bit of money. A laugh bubbled up from my chest, surprising us both. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? Mara? Stefan's voice held a warning note. Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything stupid. I leaned against the brick wall of the cafe, closing my eyes. But you have to admit, it's a little satisfying. Your mom called me last week, Stefan said quietly. Asked how you were doing. My eyes snapped open. What did you tell her? The truth. That you're doing great. That your design business is taking off. That you're stronger than ever. She could have asked me herself. Maybe she's afraid you won't answer. Maybe she should have believed me 3 years ago instead of her perfect daughter. The bitterness in my voice surprised even me. Luna appeared in the doorway of the cafe, holding my laptop bag. Your 2 o'clock client is calling. Right. I straightened up, pulling my professional mask back into place. Thanks for the heads up about Soleil, Stefan. But I've got work to do. Just be careful, okay? Stefan caught my arm as I turned to leave. Whatever's happening with her, it might affect you too. Not anymore, I said firmly. But as I walked back into the cafe, Logan's words echoed in my mind. She's not doing well. She's asking about you. For the first time in 3 years, I saved the messages instead of deleting them. Something told me this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Luna watched me gather my things, concern etched on her face. You okay? I'm fine, I lied, slinging my bag over my shoulder. It's just another Thursday, right? But as I headed to my car, my phone buzzed one final time. A new message, this one from an unknown number. Mara, please, I need your help. S. I stood there, key in hand, while my past and present collided in 12 simple words. And despite everything inside me screaming to ignore it, I knew my carefully constructed piece was about to shatter. She lost everything. Stefan's voice crackled through my phone speaker as I paced my home office. The startup was a scam from the beginning. She convinced 20 people to invest, including Logan and 2 of your dad's business partners. I sank into my desk chair, staring at the string of desperate texts Soleil had sent over the past 3 days. How much? Close to 2 million total. Logan lost 300,000 alone. Jesus Christ. I rubbed my temples, feeling a headache building. And Dad? He didn't invest, thank God, but his reputation took a hit since she used his name to convince others to buy in. My laptop pinged with a new email notification, another potential client reaching out for design work. My business was thriving, built from scratch after Soleil's lies had cost me my position at our father's company. The irony wasn't lost on me. There's more, Stefan continued. She's being investigated for fraud. Logan and the others filed complaints. A knock at my door made me jump. Luna stood in the doorway holding 2 cups of coffee. Stefan, I'll call you back, I said, ending the call. Luna, what are you doing here? Bringing reinforcements. She set a cup in front of me. You weren't at our morning meeting and you're never late. I got worried. I showed her Soleil's latest message. Please meet me. I'll explain everything. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm begging you. Are you going to? I don't know. I took a sip of coffee, grateful for its warmth. Part of me wants to watch her crash and burn. And the other part? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Unknown number. My heart jumped to my throat. Hello? Mara? My mother's voice, thick with tears. Have you heard from your sister? I gripped the coffee cup tighter. Mum, she's not answering her phone. The police came to the house this morning asking questions. Your father is beside himself. Why are you calling me? The words came out sharper than intended. You haven't bothered for 3 years. A pause. I know. I should have listened to you back then. But right now, I'm worried about Soleil. If she contacts you... You mean like she has been for the past 3 days? I cut in. While I've been ignoring her? Oh, thank God. Mom's relief was palpable. Please, honey, just talk to her. She needs help. Like I needed help when she destroyed my life? The bitter laugh escaped before I could stop it. That's rich, Mom. Luna touched my arm, a silent reminder to breathe. I deserve that, Mom said quietly, but please, she's still your sister. After I hung up, Luna studied my face. What are you thinking? I'm thinking karma's finally caught up with her. I pulled up my email, clicking on the latest message. And I have work to do. Mara. Luna's tone made me look up. You're not really going to ignore her, are you? Why shouldn't I? Because you're better than that, and because you'll always wonder what would have happened if you'd answered. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Soleil. I'm at Riverfront Park, by the fountain. I'll wait here all day if I have to. Shit. I stood up, grabbing my keys. Cover for me with the Morrison client? Luna smiled. Already rescheduled for tomorrow. Go. The park was quiet for a weekday morning. I spotted her immediately, sitting alone on a bench, her head bowed. She looked smaller somehow, her designer clothes replaced by jeans and a simple sweater. Her hair, usually perfectly styled, was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked up as I approached, her face, my face, streaked with tears. You came. I'm here, I said coldly, remaining standing. Talk. I screwed up. Really screwed up. Her voice cracked. They're going to arrest me, Mara. I need... My help? I crossed my arms. Like you helped me 3 years ago? I know I don't deserve it. But you're the only one who might understand. The only one who knows what it's like to lose everything. Because you made sure I lost it all. The words tasted like ash in my mouth. Why should I help you? She reached into her bag, pulling out an envelope. Because I'm ready to tell the truth. About everything. I'll confess to what I did to you. Clear your name. Just, please, help me fix this. I stared at the envelope, my heart pounding. 3 years of pain, of rebuilding, of proving myself. And now she wanted my help? Please, she whispered. I know I'm toxic. I know I'm manipulative. But I'm also scared. And you're the strongest person I know. I took the envelope, my fingers trembling slightly. I'll think about it. As I walked away, leaving her crying on the bench, I realized I had a choice to make: help her and risk getting burned again, or walk away and live with the consequences. The envelope felt heavy in my hand, weighted with possibilities and dangers, and somewhere deep inside, a plan began to form. You want me to do what? Soleil's voice echoed across the nearly empty cafe. We'd agreed to meet at closing time, when fewer people would be around to witness our conversation. You heard me. I stirred my tea calmly, watching her face contort with disbelief. A public confession. In front of everyone you lied to. That's my condition for helping you. I can't. She glanced around nervously, even though the only other person present was the barista wiping down tables across the room. The legal implications alone. The truth is going to come out anyway, I cut in. The question is whether you want to control the narrative or let the police do it for you. Soleil's hands shook as she reached for her water glass. 3 days had passed since our meeting in the park, and she looked even worse now. Dark circles under her eyes, bitten nails, designer watch conspicuously missing from her wrist. There's something else, she whispered. Something I haven't told anyone. Of course there is. I leaned back in my chair. There always is with you. I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air between us. I studied her face for any sign of manipulation, but found only raw fear. 8 weeks, she continued. The father. He was one of the investors. He doesn't know. Jesus, Soleil. I ran a hand through my hair. Logan? She nodded miserably. I never meant for any of this to happen. The investment scheme seemed foolproof at first. Then things started falling apart, and I kept trying to fix it, but you just made it worse, I finished. Like you always do. The barista approached our table. Sorry, ladies, we're closing in 5 minutes. We gathered our things and stepped out into the cool evening air. Soleil grabbed my arm as I turned toward my car. What exactly would this public confession entail? Everything, I said firmly. The lies about me stealing from Dad, the fake drug addiction story, how you manipulated the company's books to make yourself look like a hero. All of it. Mom and Dad will never forgive me. They forgave you for destroying my life. The words came out sharper than intended. Maybe they'll surprise you again. Soleil wrapped her arms around herself, looking suddenly young and vulnerable. When? I'll arrange it. This weekend. I'll invite everyone who needs to be there. Mom, Dad, Logan, the other investors. You'll tell them everything. And then you'll help me? I pulled out my phone, showing her the screen. I've already been in contact with my friend Marcus. He's a criminal defense attorney. He's willing to take your case, but only if you come clean about everything first. Everything? Her voice cracked. Everything. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. This is your one chance, Soleil. Take it or leave it. She was quiet for a long moment, streetlights casting shadows across her face. My face, but harder somehow, worn by years of deception. Okay, she finally whispered. I'll do it. I'll text you the details tomorrow. I turned to leave, but paused. And Soleil? If you're playing me again... I'm not, she said quickly. I swear. I watched her walk to her car, a beat-up Honda instead of her usual luxury vehicle, before pulling out my phone to call Stefan. Well, he answered on the first ring. She agreed. But there's a complication. She's pregnant. Shit. A pause. Logan's? Yeah, start making calls. I want everyone there on Saturday. Mara. Stefan's voice held a warning note. Are you sure about this? Public humiliation isn't usually your style. This isn't about humiliation, I said, watching Soleil's taillights disappear around the corner. It's about truth and consequences. After hanging up, I sat in my car for a long moment, remembering the day everything fell apart. The family meeting where Soleil had tearfully discovered evidence of my supposed theft and drug use. The way our parents had looked at me, horror and disappointment in their eyes. The shame of being escorted out of the building I'd worked in since college. My phone buzzed with a text from Luna. How did it go? She agreed, but there's more at stake than we thought. Want to talk about it? Tomorrow, I replied. Right now I need to make some arrangements. I started my car, mind already racing with plans. The venue would need to be private but public enough to make an impact. Everyone would need to be there, our parents, Logan, the other investors, even some of Dad's business partners who'd shunned me after the accusations. As I drove home, another text came through from Soleil. Thank you for giving me a chance. I won't let you down this time. I didn't respond. After all, actions speak louder than words. A lesson Soleil was about to learn the hard way. The private room at Bellamy's? Luna raised an eyebrow as she helped me arrange chairs in the upscale restaurant. Isn't this a bit dramatic? It's perfect. I adjusted a place card on one of the tables. Private enough for discretion, public enough that she can't back out. Stefan entered, carrying a small audio recorder. Everyone's confirmed. Logan was interesting to convince. What do you mean? He seemed nervous, like he's hiding something. Stefan set the recorder on the main table. Are you sure this is just about the investment scheme? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Soleil. Can we meet before everyone arrives? Please. She's early, I muttered, showing them the message. Luna squeezed my arm. Want us to stay? No. I need to handle this alone. I straightened my blazer. But stick close? They nodded, heading toward the bar area, as I texted Soleil back. 5 minutes later, she slipped into the room, looking pale in a simple black dress. There's something you need to know, she said without preamble, about Logan. If you're having second thoughts, he knew. She sank into a chair. About the investment scheme. He knew it was fraudulent from the beginning. I felt the blood drain from my face. What? He helped me set it up. The whole thing was his idea. Her hands twisted in her lap. He only turned on me when it started falling apart. And the baby? Was a mistake. A drunk night after everything went wrong. She laughed bitterly. He told me to take care of it or he'd make sure I took all the blame. I sat down heavily. Why are you telling me this now? Because... She met my eyes. I'm ready to tell the whole truth. Not just about what I did to you, but about everything. Logan included. The door opened and Stefan poked his head in. People are starting to arrive. I nodded, mind racing. Give us a minute. Once he left, I turned back to Soleil. If you're lying to me again. I'm not. She pulled out her phone, showing me a series of text messages between her and Logan. I have proof. Of everything. I read through the messages, my hands shaking. They detailed the entire scheme from inception to collapse. Logan's role was clear and damning. Why didn't you show me this before? Because I was ashamed. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Not just of the scheme, but of everything, what I did to you. It was unforgivable. And it started long before Logan. I was so jealous of you, Mara. You were always the strong one, the talented one. I thought if I could just tear you down. The door opened again. Our parents entered, followed by Logan and several other investors. The room suddenly felt too small. Showtime, I whispered, standing up. Logan's eyes darted between Soleil and me, his confident facade cracking slightly when he saw her phone in my hand. Thank you all for coming, I began, my voice steady despite my racing heart. We're here because Soleil has something to share with everyone. Our mother reached for Dad's hand as Soleil stood up. She looked at me once, received my slight nod, and began to speak. 3 years ago, I destroyed my sister's life with a series of lies. Her voice grew stronger as she continued, detailing everything. The false accusations, the manipulated evidence, the years of jealousy that led to it. Our mother's soft crying filled the pauses. Dad's face grew darker with each revelation. But when Soleil reached the part about the investment scheme, Logan suddenly stood up. That's enough, he snapped. You don't know what you're saying. Show them, I said quietly to Soleil. She projected the text messages onto the wall using a small portable projector from her purse. Logan's face went white as his own words appeared for all to see. "You set this up?" One of the investors stood, pointing at Logan. "You orchestrated the whole thing?" The room erupted into chaos. Logan tried to leave, but Stefan blocked the door. Our father was on his feet, shouting. Investors were calling their lawyers. Through it all, Soleil kept talking, her voice clear and unwavering as she laid bare every lie, every manipulation, every scheme, including her own role in all of it. I watched it unfold, feeling strangely hollow. This was what I wanted. The truth exposed, justice served. But as I saw the devastation on our parents' faces, the fury in Logan's eyes, the mix of relief and despair in Soleil's tears, I realized this was just the beginning. The truth, as it turned out, was more complicated than even I had imagined, and we were all about to face its consequences. The police arrived within 20 minutes of Logan's attempted escape. As they led him away in handcuffs, my mother approached me, her mascara streaked down her cheeks. "Did you know," she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, "about Logan's involvement?" "Not until today." I watched as investors huddled with their phones, presumably calling lawyers. Soleil told me just before everyone arrived. "All these years?" Mom's hands trembled as she reached for mine. "We believed such horrible things about you. I believed such horrible things." "Mom, don't." I pulled away. "Not now." Dad stood by the window, his back rigid as he spoke quietly with Marcus, the defense attorney I'd brought for Soleil. She sat alone at the table, looking smaller than ever. "What happens now?" Mom asked. "Now?" I gathered my things. "Now I go home. I have work tomorrow." "Mara, please." She grabbed my arm. "We need to talk about this. As a family." "A family?" I laughed sharply. "We haven't been a family since you chose to believe the worst about me without a shred of evidence." "I was wrong," her voice cracked. "We were all wrong, but your sister needs us now." "Like I needed you." The room had mostly cleared out, leaving just our family, Stefan, and Marcus. Soleil looked up as I approached her table. "The police will want to question you," I said, keeping my voice professional. "Marcus will help you through it. Tell them everything about Logan's involvement." "What about—" She gestured vaguely at her stomach. "That's your choice to make." I placed a business card in front of her. "This is Dr. Sarah Palmer. She's discreet and excellent at what she does. Whatever you decide." "Mara," Dad's voice came from behind me. "We should discuss this as a family." I turned to face him. "There's nothing to discuss." Soleil confessed. "Logan's arrested. The truth is out. That's what I wanted." "And what about forgiveness?" Mom asked softly. "Forgiveness?" I felt something snap inside me. "Let's talk about forgiveness. Let's talk about how you threw me out of the house without letting me defend myself. How you blocked my calls, my emails. How you told everyone in your social circle that I was a drug addict and a thief." "We were wrong," Dad said, his voice heavy. "We should have listened." "Yes, you should have." I grabbed my purse. "Stefan, can you make sure Soleil gets home safely?" He nodded, moving closer to my sister as I headed for the door. "Wait!" Soleil called out. "What you did for me today, helping me tell the truth, thank you." I paused at the doorway. "I didn't do it for you. I did it because the truth matters. Because actions have consequences." "And what about my consequences?" she asked quietly. "What happens to me now?" "That depends on the police investigation. And on you." I turned back one last time. "The truth is out. What you do with it is your choice." Outside, Luna was waiting by my car. "You okay?" "No." I leaned against the cool metal. "But I will be." My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "Police want to interview you tomorrow. Standard procedure." "Need company tonight?" Luna asked, reading over my shoulder. "Actually, yes." I unlocked the car. "But first, I need a drink." We ended up at our usual bar where I told her everything. Logan's involvement, Soleil's pregnancy, my parents' attempts at reconciliation. So what now? Luna asked, signaling for another round. Are you going to let them back in? I don't know. I stared into my glass. Part of me wants to. Part of me is screaming to run. Maybe there's a middle ground? Before I could respond, my phone lit up with a text from Soleil. The police are releasing me for now. Logan's being held. They found evidence of other schemes on his computer. This goes deeper than anyone knew. Jesus, Luna muttered, reading the message. What are you going to do? Nothing. I put my phone away. The police can handle it now. I'm done playing family counselor. Are you, though? Luna raised an eyebrow. Because it seems to me like you're just getting started. She was right, of course. This wasn't over. The truth was out, but the aftermath was just beginning. My parents wanted reconciliation. Soleil needed support. Logan's schemes were unraveling. And somewhere in the middle of it all, I had to figure out what I wanted. My phone buzzed again, Mom this time. We're having dinner tomorrow night, just the family. Please come. I showed Luna the message. Going. I don't know. I signaled for the check. But I do know one thing. What's that? Whatever happens next, it's going to be on my terms, not theirs. The truth might set you free, but it also opens doors you never expected to walk through. The question was, which doors would I choose? The family home looked exactly the same. Pristine lawn, gleaming windows, perfect roses climbing the trellis. I sat in my car for 10 minutes before finding the courage to walk up the familiar path. Soleil opened the door before I could knock. You came. I'm not staying long. I stepped past her into the foyer, the scent of Mom's signature lasagna filling the air. I have an early meeting tomorrow. Mara! Mom emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. She moved to hug me but stopped short when I stiffened. We're so glad you're here. Dad appeared from his study, looking older than I remembered. The detective called today. They found evidence of Logan's schemes going back 5 years. Can we not talk about that? Soleil wrapped her arms around herself. Just for tonight? Actually, we need to. I placed my bag on the entry table. Because I got some interesting calls today. Everyone turned to look at me. 3 more people came forward, I continued, all claiming Logan scammed them before he met you, Soleil. And they all mentioned something interesting, a partner who helped him, a woman. Soleil's face went white. Mara. Don't. I held up my hand. Just tell me the truth. Were you working with him before the investment scheme? Before what you did to me? Soleil? Mom's voice shook. What is she talking about? My sister sank onto the stairs, tears streaming down her face. I met Logan 4 years ago. He showed me how easy it was to manipulate people, to take their money. The investment scheme wasn't our first con, it was just our biggest. And destroying my life? I asked quietly. Was that part of the con too? No, she looked up desperately. That was all me. My jealousy, my weakness. Logan didn't even know about it until after. Dad leaned heavily against the wall. How much money are we talking about? With all the schemes combined? Soleil wiped her eyes. Almost 4 million. Mom stumbled, catching herself on the banister. Oh my God. I'm telling the police everything, Soleil said quickly. About all of it. That's why I needed your help, Mara. Not just for the recent scheme, but for all of it. I can't live with the lies anymore. I sat down on the bottom step, keeping distance between us. Why now? Why not come clean years ago? Because I'm pregnant. She touched her stomach. And I don't want my child to have a mother who lives on lies, like I've been doing. Pregnant? Mom gasped. By Logan? Yes. Soleil's voice was barely audible. I have an appointment with Dr. Palmer tomorrow to discuss options. The silence that followed was deafening. Dad disappeared into his study, returning moments later with a glass of scotch. Mom sank into an armchair, looking shell-shocked. I'll go with you, I found myself saying, to the appointment. Everyone stared at me. Why would you do that? Soleil asked. After everything? Because you're finally telling the truth. And because... I took a deep breath. Because I know what it's like to face life-changing decisions alone. Mom started crying softly. Dad set down his glass and cleared his throat. The police will want to know about the other victims, he said. It could mean more charges. I know. Soleil straightened her shoulders. I'm ready to face the consequences. All of them. What about the baby? Mom asked. That's Soleil's decision, I cut in before anyone could say more. Not a family vote. When did you become so strong? Soleil asked quietly. When you forced me to be. I stood up. I should go. Stay, Mom pleaded. Please, we haven't even eaten. Another time. I picked up my bag. I need to process all this. At the door, Soleil caught my arm. The appointment's at 10 tomorrow. You don't have to. I'll be there at 9:30. I met her eyes, my eyes, but filled with a pain I'd never seen before. And Soleil, no more lies, about anything. I promise. As I drove home, my phone lit up with texts from Stefan and Luna, asking how it went. I ignored them, too overwhelmed to respond. The truth about Soleil was worse than I'd imagined, but her willingness to face it, that was unexpected. My phone rang, Marcus calling with an update. Logan's talking, he said without preamble, trying to cut a deal. He's naming names, dates, everything. Good. I pulled into my driveway. Let him talk. You okay? I thought about tomorrow's appointment, about Soleil's confession, about the years of lies finally unraveling. No, I answered honestly, but I think I might be. Eventually. The truth was messy and painful, but it was also freeing. And maybe, just maybe, it was the first step towards something real. 2 weeks after Soleil's decision to keep the baby, we sat in Marcus's office, facing the district attorney. The room felt too small for the weight of the moment. Full cooperation, the DA said, reviewing the papers in front of her. Names, dates, bank records, in exchange for a reduced sentence. How reduced? I asked, while Soleil gripped the arms of her chair. Given the extent of cooperation and her current condition, the DA glanced at Soleil's stomach. 2 years, mostly probation, some community service, and full restitution to all victims. And Logan? Soleil's voice trembled. Looking at 15 to 20. His previous schemes make a plea deal unlikely. Marcus leaned forward. When do you need an answer? Today. The DA stood up. The press conference is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Either Soleil appears with me to announce her cooperation, or we proceed with full charges. After she left, Soleil turned to me. What should I do? You know what you need to do. I handed her a pen. Sign the papers. Mom and Dad will be there tomorrow, at the press conference. She took the pen but didn't sign. Everyone will know everything. They already know. I stood up, pacing the office. The only difference is whether you face it on your terms or theirs. Marcus cleared his throat. The DA's offer is more than fair, considering the amount of money involved. Soleil signed the papers with shaking hands. As Marcus gathered them, she grabbed my arm. Will you be there tomorrow? Yes. I helped her up. But not for you. For me. It's time everyone heard the whole story. The next morning, the courthouse steps were crowded with reporters and familiar faces. Our parents stood to one side, Mom clutching Dad's arm. Luna and Stefan positioned themselves near the podium, offering silent support. The DA spoke first, outlining the case against Logan and announcing Soleil's cooperation. Then she stepped aside, making way for Soleil. My sister approached the podium wearing a simple black dress that couldn't hide her slight baby bump. Her hands shook as she unfolded her prepared statement. 4 years ago, I made a choice that started me down a path of deception. She looked up, meeting my eyes in the crowd. But my crimes didn't begin with the investment schemes. They began with betraying my twin sister. The reporters leaned forward, cameras clicking rapidly. I destroyed my sister's reputation with calculated lies. I manipulated my family, our friends, our business associates. I did it out of jealousy, out of a desperate need to prove myself better than her. Soleil's voice grew stronger. Then, I met Logan Brooks, who showed me how to turn my talent for deception into profit. She detailed the schemes, the victims, the millions stolen. Mum was crying openly now, Dad's face ashen as he supported her. But the worst crime I committed wasn't financial fraud. It was betraying the person who knew me best, my twin, my other half, Mara. Soleil turned to face me directly. I'm sorry for everything. You were always the stronger one, the better one, and I proved it by trying to destroy you. The reporters swung their cameras toward me. I stood straighter, meeting their lenses with steady eyes. I'm cooperating fully with the investigation, Soleil continued. Not just because it's right, but because I'm carrying a child. And I want this baby to know that even the worst mistakes can be faced with honesty. After the formal statements, as the crowd began to disperse, our parents approached me. You knew, Dad said quietly, about her cooperation. I helped arrange it. I watched as Marcus led Soleil to a waiting car. She needed to face consequences, but she also needed a chance to make things right. And us? Mom asked. Do we get that chance too? That depends. I turned to face them fully. Are you ready to hear the whole truth about what happened 3 years ago? Not Soleil's version, but mine. They nodded, and for the first time in years, I saw real willingness to listen in their eyes. Then let's get coffee. I gestured toward the cafe across the street. It's a long story. As we walked, my phone buzzed with a text from Soleil. Thank you for being there, for everything. I didn't respond immediately. The truth was I hadn't done it for her. I'd done it because the truth needed to be told, all of it from every angle, because sometimes healing starts with ripping off old bandages no matter how much it hurts. Ready? Luna asked, appearing at my side as we reached the cafe. No, I admitted, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because that's what strength really is. Not the absence of fear or pain, but the courage to face them head-on. Soleil had finally learned that lesson. Now it was our parents' turn. The nursery walls were still bare as I helped Soleil assemble the crib. Outside, autumn leaves scattered across the lawn of her small rental house, a far cry from her former luxury apartment, but honest living had its price. Logan took a plea deal this morning, she said, handing me a screwdriver. 12 years. I heard. I tightened the last screw. Marcus called me. Did he tell you about the restitution payments? Every month for the next 20 years. I stood up, testing the crib's stability. But you're doing it. Thanks to the job you helped me get. Soleil ran her hand over the simple white railing. Never thought I'd be grateful for data entry work. The doorbell rang. Our parents stood on the porch carrying boxes of baby supplies. The past few months had been a slow rebuild of trust. Weekly dinners, honest conversations, painful revelations finally heard and acknowledged. We found these in the attic, Mom said, setting down a box. Your old baby things, Mara's and Soleil's. Dad pulled out 2 identical stuffed rabbits, worn with age. You two fought over these constantly. Because Soleil always stole mine, I said, but without the old bitterness. I did. Soleil took one of the rabbits. I always wanted what was yours, even when I had the same thing. The ultrasound is tomorrow, Mom asked, unpacking baby clothes. Yes. Soleil touched her rounded belly. Would you come with us, Mara? I hesitated. Supporting Soleil through her pregnancy had been one thing, a human response to someone in need. But this felt more intimate, more like the sisters we used to be. Please, she added softly. I know I don't deserve. Stop saying that. I cut her off. You're doing the work. You're facing consequences. You're trying to be better. That's what matters now. Dad cleared his throat. Speaking of consequences, the business partners you helped expose in Logan's scheme, they're being indicted next week. I know. I helped Mom unpack another box. 3 more victims came forward after Soleil's press conference. And the company? Soleil asked quietly. Dad's reputation is recovering, he said, thanks to Mara's marketing strategy. I'd agreed to help rebuild the family business's image, but on my terms, working as an independent consultant, maintaining my own successful design firm. The nursery needs art, Mom observed, looking at the blank walls. Actually, I pulled out my tablet, opening a design file. I've been working on something. The digital sketches showed a series of watercolor-style murals, 2 rabbits playing under a tree, surrounded by falling leaves and soft lights. Like our old stuffed animals, Soleil whispered, but together instead of fought over. If you want them, I said. Luna and I could paint them this weekend. You'd do that? For my niece? Yes. I set down the tablet. But Soleil, this doesn't mean everything's fixed. I know. She met my eyes steadily. But it means we're trying. All of us. Dad picked up the old rabbits, holding them out to us. Maybe these belong together too, like they were always meant to be. I took mine, or maybe it was Soleil's. After all these years, who could tell? The soft fur felt familiar under my fingers. The baby's kicking, Soleil suddenly said. Here. She reached for my hand. I let her place it on her belly, feeling the strong movement beneath. She's going to be fierce, I said, like her mom learned to be. Like her aunt always was, Soleil corrected. Mom wiped tears from her eyes as she watched us. Dad pretended to be very interested in the crib assembly instructions. What time tomorrow? I asked, stepping back. 10. Soleil clutched her rabbit. You'll come? I'll be there at 9:30. I gathered my things. With coffee. Real coffee for me, decaf for you. At the door, I turned back one last time. The nursery was still a work in progress, like all of us, like our relationships, like the truth we were still learning to tell and accept. Mara, Soleil called. Thank you, not just for tomorrow, for showing me what strength really looks like. I nodded, unable to speak past the sudden tightness in my throat. Because that's what real strength is, not in revenge or punishment, but in the courage to rebuild, to try again, to love carefully and honestly in spite of past wounds. The rabbits sat together on the crib rail, worn and loved, separate but connected. Like us. Not perfect, not completely healed, but finally real.